Over the next 4 or 5 episodes, I'm going to be sharing on an episode basis the book that I've written called Life After Depression. So make a cup of tea or coffee, find somewhere comfortable and enjoy. Before we start, I'd just like to share with you that I do now lead a full and healthy life, and I have studied mental health quite extensively, and I'm now able to help others with their depression and their anxiety. So I call myself a survivor. I dedicate this book to all those poor souls out there suffering daily from depression. We use the term suffering from depression so lightly sometimes, but only those who have really suffered from this affliction know what a lonely and a misunderstood condition it actually is. The suffering is so very cruel. I would never be so brazen as to compare depression to cancer or another terminal illness that I've not experienced, but I do know that there were many instances in my time of depression that I wished and prayed that I could swap my condition for something terminal. Something people would understand, or maybe even more importantly, something that might end one day. Even a terminal illness, as painful and as traumatic as it is understood by Mr. and Mrs. Public. We've all had contact with a friend or family member who's been struck down with a dreadful disease. We telephone them daily to check on their progress. We send them flowers and cards, or we just sit quietly at their bedside when they're too sick to make conversation. We try to imagine the pain that the patient is going through, secretly thanking God that it's not us. Depression, on the other hand, is often perceived as an overreaction to a life situation. I dedicate this to all those people who cannot afford medication or counseling. May you find peace in your troubled minds. I dedicate this to those who could not see the light at the end of that long, dark tunnel and ended their lives prematurely, leaving behind them grieving and confused family and friends. I dedicate this to those friends and family who are doing their best to understand the condition, even though they've never experienced it themselves. It must be so difficult for them. How could they possibly know the feeling of such hopelessness? And lastly, but by no means least importantly, I dedicate this to my own family, friends and work colleagues who lived with me through those difficult years, giving me love and support when I needed it most, understanding when nobody else did. My children were mostly too young to understand what was going on at the time, but I dedicate this to them as well. Thank you for accepting Mommy as she was. Thank you all. This book is a journal of my life and my daily tug of war with depression. My fight to get my life back from what I called the black monster. It is my story about overcoming depression. I'm excited about sharing this with you, and I trust that you'll find some comfort from reading, or in this case listening, about my experience. Writing this has brought back some memories that I would rather have left tucked away. But in order to do so, it's necessary for me to open that closed drawer that I've kept tightly locked and unpack it, examine it, analyze it, and try to make some sense of it. I don't have the formal qualifications to advise on the treatment of depression, and will not be attempting to do so, but I think you will agree that serving a lifelong apprenticeship in depression myself, it must count for something. It's a pity there are no diplomas or certificates awarded for this, because I would certainly be student of the decade. I sincerely hope that with my life experience, I'm able, in the writing of this book, to help you feel less alone and perhaps just a little better understood. Chapter 1. It's 2 a.m. and I lie staring into the darkness yet again. Why does it always feel like I'm the only person awake in the whole world? I'm sure there are other people who are suffering from insomnia. I'm sure they don't feel like their world is coming to an end. I'm sure they don't feel personally targeted by insomnia like I do. Like it has picked me out personally to terrorize and torture with wakefulness. Maybe I should get up and make a cup of tea, turn the TV on, read my book. It's not good to lie here in the dark. Everything seems so much scarier when I'm alone in the dark, in these dark, lonely hours of the morning. But I'm going to be so tired tomorrow morning if I don't get back to sleep. I have to go to work. Please, please help me to get some sleep, I beg. Is there no one listening to me? Why can't I sleep at night when everyone else is asleep? One would think I'd collapse into a deep coma when I get into bed after feeling so exhausted all day at work. What a vicious cycle, tired all day and awake all night. I'll try visualizing a while. I keep hearing about this new powerful force that allows one to achieve absolutely anything that one desires. Visualization seems to be the new buzzword. If you believe it, you can make it real. All the books are saying it. I need to give it a try. I'm sure it'll make me feel calm and allow me to drop off to sleep. Okay, breathe deeply now. Count those breaths, I tell myself. Listen to each breath, feeling calmer and calmer, sleepier and sleepier, while the soft sand massages the soles of my feet. An hour later, here I lie, eyes as wide as dinner plates, staring into the darkness, by now all thoughts of the beach and the waves long forgotten. My mind has once again drifted back to my own fears and my own misery. I'm thinking, I'm wishing, I'm praying my circumstances were different. I was so sure that once I'd removed certain reasons for unhappiness from my life that all would be well. How I'd fooled myself. This had been such a lesson to me that everything in one's life can be absolutely, perfectly happy and in order. But if the black monster comes visiting, all happiness pales into insignificance. I always thought that my marriage had caused me most of my unhappiness. And yes, I suppose it did add to my feelings of being unhappy, trapped and alone. But it's taken me so many years and such a long journey to realize that if you're happy within yourself and your brain is functioning on all cylinders, nothing can make you depressed. Depression is a feeling that is very difficult to describe to someone who's not experienced it. It's not only feeling sad. Even though the sadness of depression is with you day and night, it doesn't stem only from being unhappy in a situation, even though the emotion of unhappiness is never ending. Sadness and unhappiness go away when one's life situation changes for the better. Depression does not. Well-meaning friends and family do everything in their power to make you happy when you're depressed. Suggesting walks, movies, dinners, all the activities that they find enjoyable. What no one realizes is that nothing is going to make you happy. Yes, you will smile and maybe you'll even laugh. You have a need to thank the person caring for you by responding accordingly, so at least they feel that they've done their bit. But nothing actually changes inside. Why am I writing this down? Selfishly, I suppose, to find out if there's some deeper meaning for my existence than what I can see now. And secondly, and probably a nobler reason, to comfort others who suffer from this condition. This life of mine can't just be the mistake it feels like right now. Maybe if I write it down, it will start to make some sense. So here goes. That was chapter 1 of my book, and I do hope you enjoyed it. And I do hope that you'll subscribe. And if you do, please remember to click on the little notification bell so that you're notified when I upload my next video. And if you just scroll down, go down and leave a comment for me. I would really love to hear from you. And if you enjoy this, please give it a thumbs up and share it with anyone who you think may benefit from it. And come back and visit me next time, and we'll carry on with chapter 2. Bye for now. Take care.